Hello and welcome back to the Lydia McGrew channel. I'm continuing readings on the significance of Easter and specifically of the bodily resurrection of Jesus Christ. And today I'm going to read a little reading from a book called Christ the Tiger by Thomas Howard. I want to emphasize that Howard's book has some Kierkegaardian, I would say, non-evidential passages, so I'm not promoting it as a work of Christian evidences. But he writes beautifully as a Christian writer with a great deal of imagination and a very strong sense of the importance of the body in Christian thought, that the body is not negligible, that it is ultimately important, and that the restoration of nature and the body is one of the central teachings of Christianity. Years ago, my husband Tim introduced me to this book. In fact, I think this may be the actual copy that he owned when we were dating. And we read it a lot together in those early years while we were dating and first married, very young. We even wrote a bit enthusiastically to Dr. Howard. He only died a couple of years ago, I believe now. And he always replied very kindly, very encouragingly in small writing, usually on a postcard. And I can remember typing on a typewriter and writing to him at that time. So he was always very kind to his correspondence and set a real example in that respect. I'm going to read you a passage on the restoration of nature, the redemption in Christ Jesus, from the end of his book. It begins on page 158 in this edition. We experienced the announcement as life-giving because it was an announcement appearing in a dirty barn and heard among the dry provincial hills, and then in the forum of Rome, and in the halls of royal princes, and in the kitchens and streets of Paris and Calcutta and Harlem and Darien. The joy and not havoc is the last word. It announced to us what we could not hope. It saw limitation and contingency and disparity and irrevocability and mutability and decay and death, and it said, yes, 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 you are quite right. Terror and horror and despair are the only eventually realistic responses if this is all there is to it. But it is not. You have thought of a world free from such conditions. In all your imaginings and in your myths and your mime and your songs and dances and epics, in your quest for form and significance and beauty beyond fragmentation and inanition and chaos, you have bespoken such a vision. I announce it to you, here, from this stable, here, from this Nazareth, this stony beach, this Jerusalem, this marketplace, this garden, this praetorium, this cross, this mountain. I announce it to you. I announce to you what is guessed at in all the phenomena of your world. You see the corn of wheat shrivel and break open and die, but you expect a crop. I tell you of the springtime of which all springtimes speak. I tell you of the world for which this world groans and toward which it strains. I tell you that beyond the awful borders imposed by time and space and contingency, there lies what you seek. I announce to you life instead of mere existence, freedom instead of frustration, justice instead of compensation. For I announce to you redemption. Behold, I make all things new. Behold, I do what cannot be done. I restore the years that the locusts and worms have eaten. I restore the years which you have drooped away upon your crutches and in your wheelchair. I restore the symphonies and operas which your deaf ears have never heard, and the snowy massif your blind eyes have never seen, and the freedom lost to you through plunder, and the identity lost to you because of calumny and the failure of justice. And I restore the good which your own foolish mistakes have cheated you of. And I bring you to the love of which all other loves speak, the love which is joy and beauty, and which you have sought in 1,000 streets, and for which you have wept and clawed your pillow. Thank you for listening. I'm Lydia McGrew. Happy Easter.